Good evening and welcome to a regular meeting of the Town Government Structure and Administration, known as TGS&A, Committee of the RTM. This is Tuesday, March 14th. We have a published agenda to go through, but I'd like to welcome everybody. Deirdre McGovern, this is your first meeting. Glad you're here. Everybody else, I guess everybody, anyway, let's go. The first item is to review the minutes of the prior meeting. And I should note that in order to approve the minutes, you do not have to have attended the meeting. All you're voting on when you say approve is that the minutes were properly presented and are in order. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 31st, 2022 meeting? Thank you. And second? Okay, Joe. Okay. The second item on the agenda is for us to consider the. Oh yes, all those in favor.
Or perhaps a discussion. Anyone have any comments or suggestions or edits?
Thank you. Unanimous. I didn't see Derek wave his hand, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. I'll approve them. I don't have any comments. Okay.
Oh, okay. We'll vote twice. A topic that brings us together this evening is an assignment for us to review the pending resolution on the revision of the blight ordinance, which is now on the books, to include commercial establishments. The matter has been pending for a couple of months. It's not on a hot button, but now certain preliminary things are out of the way, and we received a markup copy of the existing legislation showing the insertion of five little changes. Quite frankly, we were concerned at the beginning of this that we would have to rewrite the resolution to incorporate commercial, and then we were worried about state authorization, and we were worried a lot. But it's come down to fairly minor changes that we can review, and we will receive the proper resolution, which was prepared by Wayne and will be part of Krista's package shortly, probably tomorrow morning. And the only difference between what we have review is the insertion of pleadings. I never knew the words for what the wherefores and the wherefores and whereases that come up at the top of our resolutions, but the pleadings are necessary, and Wayne added them this afternoon, and that we will all get it shortly. So I would like to open it up for any discussion or questions about what we have on the table.
Frank, can I start?
David.
Yeah, we've had this blight ordinance on the books for about 5 years now, and my question is, why has the issue of commercial properties come up at this point in time? There's obviously one property in the Northern Heights area that's been under construction and not a lot done with for a long time, but are there other problems in town that's generating this issue?
John Vesey, why don't you take this ball and run with it a little bit, answer David's question.
Yeah, there were about, Frank and I looked into it, and the information we got, there were about 11 locations in town, and we visited each one of them that could be considered commercial. Not that there was anything that prompted the selectmen to give it to us, but we did take a look at it, and they kind of all fell into the same blight ordinance that we have today. So that's probably why, David. I don't think there was anything, maybe, I know Palmer's was an issue, but Frank and I found out that nobody was really targeting Palmer's, just those 11 locations that possibly could be, have a blight problem. I guess you got all that twice.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's
If I
not a,
if I look distracted, Harry is apparently trying to get in, and I'm doing a little quick email with Harry to hope that Harry McLaughlin can join us here.
yeah,
Just hold
Frank,
on.
I'm afraid to tell you, I think you may be the problem with the echo. Maybe if you try muting yourself, because I see your microphone is moving every time everyone else talks. So is it possible for you to mute yourself when others are talking? I don't, we'll see if that works. Oh, it does seem
Yeah,
to work.
yeah.
Okay, so I had one follow-up question. And that is, whether there's, as a matter of fairness, it seems like a good idea to include commercial properties, but it just seems that this is something that kind of came out of the blue. So, what is it that has really prompted this revision? I mean, I guess it's the same question I just asked. There are 11 properties, but is there perceived to be a real need to include commercial properties in town in the blight ordinance? How did the selectmen discuss it? And what I didn't see their minutes meeting.
Okay, yeah, you can mute, man. See, I hope that I don't echo. Yes, it was a concern. While that one major property was troubled, to pass a resolution that if other properties fall into the same situation, that they could be corralled yeah, corralled, but warned and go through the due process of finding blight and then working out a solution. There was concern that at the time that because there was only one property, that this would resolution would appear to be punitive. And now that that property is under permit, the permits have been issued for all that, which is proper. It takes that stigma off of it, and now the ordinance can be viewed as more as maintenance to tidy tidy up or make the resolution more complete and encompassing, so that when a situation like we had should come up again, there need not be a long there need not be a long delay in addressing the problem, and the Blight Review Board would have the tools to do it. Once we got into the maintenance mode, I supported the thing fully, and that just to move ahead and get it done. So I hope that's a good and okay answer.
Yeah, no, it's a great answer. And I think I support this ordinance. I guess my other question is, because we have a limited ability to actually fine owners for blight, I think it's $250 a day for a large commercial property that's worth millions of dollars. Is that really going to move the needle to get people to do something?
And you still have a Connecticut license, don't you? Okay.
That strikes me as a relevant point.
Well, I mean,
Harry,
Palmer's was 3
Harry,
years
we
over.
can. I'm sorry, Deirdre.
I was just going to say for Palmer's it was 3 years, so over 3 years' time that does add up.
I'm going on and off with my mic. Deirdre, I'm sorry that I didn't hear your comment.
I was just saying that for Palmer's, the blight has been 3 years running. So, if it's $250 a day over a 3-year time period, that adds up.
Yeah,
Are you referring to
point
the
is-
development that the property that is now going to get started soon?
Correct.
The point
Oh,
is to
that's-
incentivize them to not have 3 years go by. I think
Right. No,
is
that
what David
I
was
think is
trying to
relevant
get
for a
at.
commercial.
So that it's meaningful, 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months, that they say, all right, whatever, 3 years, not a big deal. I'll wait for a buyer instead of fixing it up. I would tend to agree that
there does seem to be a mismatch of value of being penalized relative to the blight that exists. So I agree, I guess, with David's comments.
No, I agree as well, but is that something we're able to change, the fee
Well,
structure?
I'm playing devil's advocate because essentially we're limited by state law as to how much we can fine as a municipality on a regular basis, and 250 a day is. I thought that's actually been increased from what it used to be. I think so. I guess if you have it run for months and months and even years, it can be an expensive fine. Is it going to move the needle if you have a 10 or 15, $20 million property? If you run up a couple 20, 30, $50,000 in fines, I mean, maybe it's just nuisance fee, but I guess eventually you can get into the issue of having a lien on your property, and it's probably the reputational stigma of having that on your property would be painful. But I just wanted to throw that out there to discuss it because I wish we could find more because especially residential owners, that's one thing. A lot of these people who are dealing with blighted properties may be elderly, or maybe there's another issue that's going on that forces them not to be able to take care of their properties. Commercial owners, they're really in a different class, and it seems kind of unfair that we can only find them the limited amount the state lets us find them, but we're stuck with that, and I guess something's better than nothing. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
David, I don't know all the state regulations, but clearly with the Palmer situation, I understand some of the dynamics around, COVID and financing. But if you are incentivized to knock down the buildings at a minimum to help clean up the property, I think that should be the ultimate goal. It's not necessarily we're trying to tell them to develop it, but to make it a safe, undilapidated environment, especially for the neighbors that are around that area, whatever it is to help incentivize that should make sense. And ultimately, that's a cost savings for if they end up selling the property to somebody else. So almost everybody's interests are aligned. So again, I don't know the laws, but I tend to agree if there is a way to increase that fine, I would be supportive of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's the case, but maybe Frank knows more.
Well, some of the issues that we have on the table were on the table last Thursday evening when our colleague committee, Planning and Zoning, met, and they, covered the same territory and voted at the end of it uh, to support the resolution and make that statement because they're the primary committee. And we are, for once, we're a secondary committee. And then Public Health and Safety will meet tomorrow night again on Zoom. And they've invited us, any of us who would like to join the meeting. I will join the meeting, but the rest of us, when I get the link, I'll send it around so that any of us can join in and see how they come down on it. I have invited George Riley, who is I invited George Riley to write a cover memo, which he did today, and it was in the afternoon package to you. The memo that will be distributed by Krista when she sends the package out tomorrow. And he will attend the RTM meeting so that if some of the questions come up that can be answered by a representative he's the chairman of the Blight Review Committee, then he'll be there to do that. And any question which several people had at the Planning and Zoning meeting is the authorization from the state that do we have the right to do this? Wayne is prepared to make a statement to the RTM to clear that up. There we are.
Yeah, I
Does
think if we have the right
anybody
to do it
else
with
have?
respect. Oh, sorry, I think if we have the right to do
Pardon
it
me?
with respect to residential properties, we certainly have the right to do it with respect to commercial properties. I mean, fair is fair. So I'd be shocked if Wayne came down and said, no, you can only penalize your residents for blight and not the commercial property owners.
You are correct. There's a quirk that because there's several other, he researched it, and there's several other major municipalities in the state that have blight ordinances. And at the same time, there's a resolution proposed to the House, Connecticut House of Representatives, HR 5099. And you can look it up, but it's only a one-page statement that municipalities are authorized to regulate commercial blight. And everyone's scratching their heads and say, why did this happen? It's proposed by a representative out of Hartford, and they have some issue that they need to do with in the municipality of Hartford on this. But meanwhile, you've got Norwalk and Stamford, and in fact, I don't have the list at hand, but Wayne read that list to me, and I should have been copying it down. But there are like 6 or 8 different municipalities that have navigated this fine, and there we are. But nonetheless, when I talked to Wayne this afternoon about his pleadings to get the document ready for Krista, he said that he would be pleased to answer that question if it comes up on the floor. Well, I see Harry McLaughlin. Good evening, sir. We could see you there. We still don't hear you, Harry. You're mute.
Thanks, Frank.
Harry?
I didn't realize I had to install an app to get on. Took me a while.
Well, we're glad to have you, and you're glad to know you're with us. But you arrived just in time to entertain a motion. If there's any more discussion, let's have it. Okay, hearing none, would someone propose a motion that the TGS&A recommends to the colleague members of the RTM that this resolution be acted on favorably? Did somebody move that? Thank you, Elaine. Would someone second that?
I'll second that.
I'll second it.
Okay, we'll give John. John answered first. Now that resolution is on our floor, is there any discussion about that? Hearing none, we've moved to a vote. And if you are in favor, please indicate that you are in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. I see no no's, and I see no abstains. Well, thank you. And that being the case, I'll write this up. David Bain is our a clerk of record. I didn't think he was going to be here. I'm prepared to do the notes for you, David. I'm going to do you a favor and write those up and send them around. And then the next topic, is there any other business that you believe should come before this committee at this time? Well, hearing none, would somebody move to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, Joe. And
Seconded.
someone would second that. Let's do it right.
Seconded, Harry.
Okay, Deirdre. All right.
Thirded.
In that case, we're going to vote to adjourn. All those in favor? Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you tonight, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday evening. So this
Good night, everybody.
this meeting will stop being recorded. All the best to you.